Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is it's a folklore tale, fairy tale, whatever you want to call it, I suppose. It's called The Little Red Fox from Gypsy Folk Tales, London, 1899. Interesting. In old former times, where there used to be kings and queens, there was a king and queen who had only one daughter, and they stored this daughter like the eyes in their head, and they hardly would let the wind blow on her. They lived in a tremendous big park, and at one end of the park was a lodge house, and at the other end there was a great moat of water. Now this queen died and left this daughter, and she was a very handsome girl. She must have been, being a queen's daughter. In this here lodge house there was an old woman lived, and in them days there was witchcraft, and the old king used to send for her to go up to the palace to work. So one day this here old gentleman, the king, was talking to the old woman, the witch, and the daughter got a bit jealous, and this old woman found out that the daughter was angry, and so she didn't come near the house for a long time. Now, the old witch was learning the young lady to sew, so she sent for her to come down to the lodge house before she had her breakfast. And the first day she went, she picked up a kernel of wheat, and she was coming along and ate it. And the witch said to her, "Have you had your breakfast?" And she says, "No." "Have you had nothing?" says the witch. "No," she says, "only a kernel of wheat." She went 2 mornings like that, and picked up a kernel of wheat every morning, so that the witch would have no power over her. But the third morning she picked up only a bit of apple peel, and then this old wise woman witched her, and after that she never sent for her to come no more. Now this young lady got to be big, and the witch was glad. She went to the king, and she says, "Your daughter is that way. She's going to have a child. Now, you know she'll have to be destroyed." "What?" says the king. "My beautiful, handsome daughter to be in that way? Oh, no, no, no. It couldn't be. But it can be so, and it is so," says the old witch. Well, it was so, and the old king found it out, and was well nigh crazy. And when he found it out, for sure, them days, when any young woman had a misfortune, she used to be burnt. And he ordered a man to go and get the iron chair and a cartload of faggots, and she had to be put in the iron chair, and these faggots set of a light round her, and she had to burn to death. As they had her in the chair, she was going to be set alight, and there was an old gentleman come up, and he says, "My noble liege, don't burn her, nor hurt her, nor don't destroy her, for there's an old vessel in the bottom of that park on the moat. Put her in there, and let her go where she will." So they did so, and never thought no more about her. During time this young lady was confined of a little fox, and directly he was born he says, "My mammy, you must be very weak and low, being confined of me, and nothing to eat or drink, but I must go somewheres and get you something." "Oh, my dear little fox," says she, "don't leave me. Whatever shall I do without you? I shall die broken-hearted." I'm going to my grandfather, as I suppose, says the little fox. Oh, my dear, you mustn't go. You'll be worried by the dogs. Oh, no dogs won't hurt me, my mammy. Away he went, trotting and trotting till he got to his grandfather's hole. When he got up to the great boarding gates, they were closed, and there were 2 or 3 dogs tied down. And when he went in, the dogs never looked at him. One of the women came out of the hall, and who should it be but the old witch? He calls, "Call your dogs in, missus, and don't let them bite me. I want to see the noble liege belonging to this hall." "What do you want to see him for?" "I want to see him for something to eat and drink for my mammy. She's very poorly." "And who is your mammy?" "Let him come out, he'll know." So the noble liege came out, and he says, "What do you want, my little fox?" "I want something to eat and drink for my mammy. She's poorly." So the noble liege told the cook to fill a basket with wine and victuals. The cook did so, and brought it to him. The noble liege says, "My little fox, you can never carry it. I will send someone to carry it." But the little fox says, "No, thank you, my noble liege." And he chucked it on his little back and went trotting and trotting to his mammy. When he got to his mammy, she says, "Oh, my dear little fox, I thought the dogs had eaten you." "No, my mammy, they turned their heads the other way." And she took him and kissed him and rejoiced over him. "Now, my mammy, have something to eat and drink," said the little fox. "I got them from my grandfather, as I suppose it is." So he went 3 times. The second time he went, the old witch became suspicious, as she says to the servants, "Don't let little fox come by here no more." But he says, "I want to see the noble liege," says the little fox. "You're very plaguesome to the noble liege, my little fox," says the witch. "Oh, no, I'm not," he says. The last time he comes, his mother dressed him in a beautiful robe of fine needlework. Now the noble liege comes up again to the little fox, and he says, "Who is your mammy, my little fox? You wouldn't know, perhaps, if I was to tell you." And he says, "Who made you that robe, my little fox?" "My mammy, to be sure. Who else could make it?" And the old king wept and cried bitterly when he saw this robe that he had on, for he thought his dear child was dead and gone for ever. "Could I have a word with you, my noble liege?" says the little fox. "Could you call a party this afternoon up at your hall?" he says. "What for, my little fox?" "Well, if you call a party, I'll tell you whose robe that is, but you must let my mammy come as well." "No, no, my little fox, I couldn't have your mammy to come." Well, the old king agreed, and the little fox says, "Now, there must be tales to be told and songs to be sung, and them as don't sing a song has to tell a tale. And after we have dinner, let's go and walk about in the garden. But you must acquaint as many ladies and gentlemen as you can to this party, and be sure to bring the old lady that lives at the lodge." Well, this party was called, and they all had enough to eat, and after that was over, the noble liege stood up in the middle and called for a song or tale. There were all songs sung and tales told, till it come to this young lady's turn, and she says, "I can't sing a song or tell a tale, but my little fox can." "Pooey daughter," says the witch, "turn out the little fox, he stinks." But they all called on the little fox, and he stood up and says, "Once a time," he says, "there was an old-fashioned king and queen lived together. They only had one daughter, and they stowed this daughter like eyes in their head, and they hardly would let the wind blow on her." "Poor daughter," says the witch, "turn out the little fox, he stinks." But there were all the ladies and gentlemen clapping and saying, "Speak on, my little fox. Well told, my little fox. Very good tale indeed." So Little Fox spoke on and told them all about the old witch and how she wanted to destroy the king's daughter. And he says, "This here, old lady, she fried my mammy an egg and a slice of bacon, and if she was to eat it all, she'd be in the family way with some bad animal. But she only ate half of it, and then she was with me. And that's the old witch there," he says, showing the party with his little paw. And then, after this was done, they all walked together to the garden. And the little fox says, "Now, my mammy, I've done all the good I can for you, and now I'm going to leave you." And he stripped off his little skin, and he flew away. And the old witch was burnt in the same chair that was meant for the young lady. It's a very interesting tale, isn't it? Considering the witch got burnt in the end. Although, in all fairness, I guess she did do a bad thing, so, I guess it's kind of different when a witch does a bad deed. That being said, though, still being burnt alive. Not heard that story and told in that way. I've heard it told in a different way, a more up-to-date way. But this is an older version, obviously 1899 is fairly old. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Please subscribe and leave a like if you do not mind. I would love having you on my channel, and many blessings.